Hello everyone, I am Ultrasonic Rainboom, and today I'm going to tell you a ghost story. And the scariest part of the story is that it is true, because it is a story from my childhood, from my life. You see, my family used to live in Ohio, and while we lived there, my brothers and I attended Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. We had our Boy Scout meetings at a place that is now known as Grace Church in Olmsted Falls. Back then, it was a place run by a musical theater group, which my family were involved in for a time, where I played a role in the junior production of Aladdin and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in the theater group. Every week, though, my dad would take me and two of my other brothers to the building to go to Boy Scouts. And the building was in a secluded area surrounded by a giant forest. The entrance to the church went into a long and winding road, driving past a few big hills filled with tons of trees everywhere. And on top of this one hill that we would always drive by, there was this bench on the very top of the hill, facing the road, barely visible, hidden in the trees. And sometimes, my younger brother and I would see a man on top of the hill, sitting on the bench. My parents would always deny that someone was up there, that it was just our eyes playing tricks on us, that it was just the shape of the leaves surrounding the bench, making us think we saw someone up there. And yet, for those moments that we drove by that hill, for a moment, sometimes I was sure that I saw someone up there, on that bench, watching the cars drive by, watching us drive by. Now, this might not sound that odd. Maybe people just liked sitting up there. But the thing is, it's not like there was a park up there or anything. I've been on top of that hill before for a camp out with my scout troop. There isn't anything up there. No park, no trail, not anything that I can remember. There was nothing up there, no reason for anyone to ever be up there. There was just trees, lots of trees, and a bench. And this hill wasn't even that close to the building. It was still quite a long ways off away from the building. And there wasn't anything else remotely close to this area either. No reason for anyone to be in this area late at night. And the crazy thing is, whenever my family would go to Boy Scouts, it would always be later at the night in the evening. And there was never anyone else in the building with us besides my own scout troop. There was no one else with us, no one else in this area to ever be on that hill. And it's not like this was a popular area either, filled with lots of buildings. There was nothing in this area but forests and trees everywhere. No other reason for anyone else to be in this area. The entrance to this building was through a very long and winding road, surrounded by nothing but hills of wildlife and trees, and no other buildings or signs of life were nearby, anywhere. There was no reason why or how anyone should ever be up there. He wasn't up there every night, though. Sometimes, my brother and I would look up on the hill as we drove by and not see anyone up there on the bench, but other times, we did see him there. There was one or two times that we noticed that he waved at us as we drove by. And sometimes I could even make out the color of his clothes that he was wearing at the time. There was one time I was sure he was wearing blue jeans and a red jacket, but then again it was the fall and all the trees around us were red, so maybe I could have just been looking at the red leaves of the trees. But even though my brother and I were sure we saw someone up there, the rest of my family still denied it, still denied that anyone was up there, except for one night. There was one night when my mom had enough, and she decided to stop the car and walk up the hill to see if anyone was up there. But it was getting dark, and we were getting a little bit scared, so we just gave up and drove home. Now, this all happened many years ago when I was around 11 years old. My family lives in Washington State now, and we are over 2,000 miles away from that area. I was so sure back then that I saw someone up there waving at us as we drove by. But honestly, now, all these years later, I don't know what I saw. Maybe it was just some sort of optical illusion in the leaves. Maybe there never really was anyone ever up there. I know it could have just been my imagination taking over me, but maybe, just maybe, there really was someone or something up there. And maybe he is still up there all these years later, still sitting on that bench on the hill in the middle of nowhere, waiting to wave at us and watch us as we drive by. But I guess I'll never know who was the man on the hill.